The knock came at exactly 2:13 a.m. Not loud, not urgent, just precise. 3 knocks, pause, 2 knocks. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard a sound so specific, so personal, that your body reacts before your brain can explain it? Because Lena Moreau did. And in that moment, her blood turned cold. She sat upright in bed, her breath catching halfway in her chest. The room was dark, silent, but her heart was suddenly racing like she'd just been dropped into a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. That knock? It wasn't random. It was his. Her brother, Daniel, used to knock like that when they were kids. Always the same pattern, always followed by a stupid grin and some joke that made no sense. 3 knocks, pause, 2 knocks. But Daniel had been dead for 8 years. That's what her mother told her. That's what the funeral confirmed. Closed casket, car accident, instant death. No last words, no goodbye. Just a box in the ground and a lifetime of questions that were never answered. So why? Why was that knock echoing through her apartment right now? Lena swung her legs off the bed slowly, her body heavy, like every instinct was screaming at her to stay where she was, to ignore it, to pretend it wasn't real. But then, it came again. 3 knocks, pause, 2 knocks. This time, louder, more certain. And then, a voice. Lena. She froze. Not just any voice. His voice. Soft, familiar, slightly hoarse, exactly the way she remembered it. Her chest tightened so sharply it hurt. Her mind scrambled for logic. A prank? A recording? Someone messing with her? But who would know that voice? Who would know that knock? And why now, after all these years? Step by step, she moved toward the front door, her heartbeat pounding so loud it filled her ears. Every step felt wrong, like she was walking toward something she wasn't supposed to see. Something that would change everything. Her hand hovered over the doorknob. Please, the voice whispered from the other side. Open the door. Tears welled in her eyes instantly, because deep down, beneath the fear, beneath the disbelief, she already knew. Either someone was about to shatter her reality, or the past she had mourned for 8 years had never been real. Her fingers tightened around the handle, and slowly, she turned it. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Dead people don't whisper your name through locked doors. So tell me, what would you do? Would you run? Would you call for help? Or would you do exactly what Lena did and open it anyway? The door creaked open slowly, inch by inch, like even the hinges were hesitant to reveal what stood on the other side. And then she saw him. Daniel! Alive! Not a ghost, not a dream, not some distorted version of memory. Him, standing there under the dim hallway light. Older, yes, thinner, his face more angular, worn in ways she couldn't immediately understand, but there was no mistaking him. Same eyes, same scar above his eyebrow, same presence that instantly filled the space like no time had passed at all. Lena stumbled backward, her legs nearly giving out beneath her. No, that's not possible, she whispered, shaking her head as if denying it would make him disappear. Daniel didn't move closer right away. He just looked at her, really looked at her, with something heavy in his expression. Guilt, relief, fear. Hey, Len, he said softly. That voice again. And just like that, 8 years of grief collided with one impossible moment. I buried you, she choked out, tears spilling freely now. I stood there and watched them lower you into the ground." Daniel exhaled slowly, like he'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times, but still didn't know how to survive it. "No," he said quietly, "you didn't." That single sentence cracked something deep inside her. Her mind reeled. None of it made sense. The funeral, her mother's breakdown, the years of silence, the way everything had just stopped. And yet here he was, breathing, speaking, real. She stepped aside without thinking, letting him in. The moment he crossed the threshold, something shifted. Not relief, not safety, something else. Because Daniel didn't relax, he didn't smile, he didn't even look around like someone returning home. Instead, he turned sharply toward the windows, the door, the corners of the room, like he was being hunted. "Where have you been?" Lena asked, her voice trembling between anger and disbelief. Daniel hesitated. Too long. Then he looked back at her, his expression tightening. "I can't explain everything right now," he said, "but you need to listen to me carefully." A cold knot formed in Lena's stomach. "Why?" she asked. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Because you're not safe." Her breath caught. "What do you mean I'm not safe?" Daniel's jaw clenched. "It means," he said slowly, choosing each word like it mattered more than anything else, "Mom lied to you." Silence filled the room. Heavy. Suffocating. Lena blinked, her mind struggling to process that sentence more than anything else she had just seen. "Why would she lie about your death?" she whispered. Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he asked something that made her heart drop even further. "Did you ever see my body?" Lena froze. Because the answer, it was no. Daniel leaned in slightly, his voice barely above a whisper now. "She didn't lie to protect you, Lena." He swallowed hard. "She lied to keep me hidden." What if the person you trusted most of all was the one who rewrote your entire life? Lena's ears rang as Daniel's words sank in. She lied to keep me hidden. Hidden from who? "Stop," Lena said, shaking her head as if she could physically push the thought away. "Hidden from who? And why would Mom—" "Do you trust her?" Daniel cut in. The question hit harder than anything else. "Do you trust her?" Lena opened her mouth to answer immediately. "Of course I do." But the words didn't come out, because suddenly, memories started shifting. Her mother, Claire Moreau, always hovering, always watching. After Daniel's supposed death, she didn't just grieve, she changed. She became controlling, checking Lena's phone, asking where she was, who she was with, insisting on knowing everything. At the time, it felt like fear, like she was terrified of losing Lena too. But now it felt like surveillance. I don't know," Lena admitted quietly. Daniel nodded, like he expected that. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out something small, worn, creased. An envelope. "I didn't come back just to see you," he said. "I came because you're part of this now." A chill ran down her spine. "What does that mean?" "It means they know about you." He handed her the envelope. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside, documents, photos, printed records. At first, none of it made sense. Then, she saw it. A photograph. Her breath caught instantly. It was Daniel standing next to her mother, both of them looking directly at the camera. Alive. And at the bottom corner, a date. 2 years after his supposed death.
No,
Lena whispered, her voice breaking. "This isn't real." "It is," Daniel said. "She helped them fake it." Lena's hands shook as she flipped through the rest. Bank transfers, names she didn't recognize, large amounts of money moving between accounts. "What is this?" she asked, panic creeping into her voice. "Proof," Daniel said. "Mom works for a private network. Powerful people. The kind you don't question." Lena's chest tightened. "You're saying she chose this? Over you?" Daniel's eyes darkened. "I'm saying I found something I wasn't supposed to," he said. "And instead of protecting me, she helped them disappear me." Silence filled the room again. But this time, it wasn't confusion. It was something heavier. Betrayal. "Why come back now?" Lena asked, barely holding herself together. Daniel took a slow breath. "Because I've found something worse," he said. "Something big enough that they'll do anything to keep it buried." Her stomach dropped. "And now they might come after you, too." Before she could respond, a sound cut through the air. Headlights flashed across the window. A car, pulling up outside. Daniel's head snapped toward the door, panic flooding his face. "No, no, no, no." "What?" Lena asked, her voice rising. "They weren't supposed to find me this fast," he muttered. Then, a knock. 3 knocks. Pause. 2 knocks. But this time, it didn't sound familiar. It sounded controlled, deliberate, and terrifying. Daniel went pale. They found me. Lena's heart slammed against her chest because whoever was on the other side of that door knew the same knock. Someone else knew the knock. Let that sink in, because that meant one thing. This wasn't just Daniel's secret anymore. It was a signal. And now it was being used against them. The knock came again. 3. Pause. 2. Slower this time, almost mocking. Lena's chest tightened as she stared at the door, her mind racing in 1,000 directions at once. "Who is that?" she whispered. Daniel was already backing away, his breathing uneven, eyes darting toward every possible exit. "We don't have time," he urgently said. "You need to hide right now." "Hide? Daniel, this is my apartment," she snapped, fear spilling over into frustration. "I'm not hiding in my own—" "Lena," he cut in sharply, grabbing her arm. "They're not here to talk." The weight of that sentence hit hard. Not here to talk. The knock came again, louder now, more forceful. 3. Pause. 2. Lena's pulse pounded in her ears. Her instincts screamed at her to listen to him, to run, to hide. But something else took over. Anger, confusion, 8 years of grief and lies crashing together in one overwhelming moment. "No," she said, pulling her arm free. "I'm done being scared. I want answers." She turned and walked straight toward the door. "Lena, don't!" Too late. She grabbed the handle and swung the door open, and froze. Because standing there was her mother, Claire Moreau, calm, composed, perfectly put together, like she had just stepped out for an evening walk, not like she had just tracked down her supposedly dead son. "Lena, sweetheart," Clara said gently, as if nothing was wrong. Lena couldn't speak. Her throat locked, her mind blank. Slowly, Claire's eyes shifted past her, landing on Daniel. No shock, no confusion, just quiet disappointment. "You told me not to come back," Claire said. Daniel stepped forward, anger burning through his fear now. "Yeah, and I told you I wouldn't stay gone forever." Lena turned between them, her voice finally breaking through. "You knew? You both knew?" Claire sighed softly and stepped inside without waiting for permission, closing the door behind her like she belonged there. "Of course I knew," she said. The room felt smaller instantly, heavier. "You let me believe he was dead,"
Lena said, her voice trembling. I did what I had to do. Daniel scoffed. You mean you chose them over your own son? Claire's expression tightened slightly. You still don't understand. Then, slowly, she reached into her coat. Lena's heart stopped. Every worst-case scenario flashed through her mind. A weapon? A signal? But instead, Claire pulled out her phone, already dialing. You've forced my hand, she said quietly. Mom, what are you doing? Lena asked. Claire looked at her, something unreadable in her eyes. I did all of this for you. The call connected, and with chilling calm, she said, Send them in. A second later, footsteps approached the door. Not one person, multiple. And Lena realized this wasn't just a family secret anymore. It was something much bigger, and it was about to crash into her life completely. The door opened without another knock. 2 men stepped inside. Calm, controlled, not rushed, not aggressive, just precise. The kind of presence that didn't need to announce power because it was already understood. Lena's heart pounded as she instinctively stepped back, her eyes darting between them, her mother, and Daniel. This was real. Every impossible thing she had just experienced, real. Daniel moved in front of her without hesitation, protective, tense, ready. But Claire raised her hand slightly. No one's here to hurt her, she said. Then explain, Lena snapped, her voice shaking but firm. Right now, no more lies. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Claire exhaled slowly, like someone finally accepting that the truth could no longer be delayed. I work for a private intelligence network, off the books, unregulated. We handle things governments don't want tied to their names. Daniel outed a bitter laugh. Illegal surveillance, blackmail, cover-ups? Claire didn't deny it. Instead, she looked directly at Lena. Your brother accessed information he was never supposed to see. Names, operations, financial trails that connect very powerful people. Lena swallowed hard. So you, what, helped them erase him? I saved him, Claire corrected. If they believed he was alive, he would have been killed, publicly, permanently. Faking his death gave him a chance to disappear. And me? Lena asked, her voice breaking. What about you? Claire's expression softened for the first time. You were the vulnerability, she said quietly. If anyone suspected he might contact you, they'd watch you, use you. I had to make sure no one believed there was anything left to find. The weight of it hit at once. The funeral, the years of grief, the control. It wasn't just loss, it was strategy. Tears streamed down Lena's face. You let me mourn him for 8 years. Claire's voice dropped. Because it was safer than burying you, too. Silence. Heavy. Final. Then one of the agents stepped forward. We're taking him back, he said, nodding toward Daniel. He's still a liability. No. The word came out instantly, strong, certain. Everyone turned to Lena. She stepped forward, placing herself between Daniel and the agents. You're not taking him anywhere. Claire's eyes narrowed slightly. Lena, this isn't your decision. It is now, she replied. You don't get to control everything anymore. A tense pause filled the room. For the first time, Claire hesitated. Really hesitated. Then, slowly, she made a choice. Stand down, she said. The agents exchanged glances, then stepped back. But the consequences were immediate and irreversible. Claire lost her position within the network within weeks. Too much risk, too many broken protocols. Daniel couldn't return to his old life. His identity was compromised. He became a ghost again. But this time, by choice. And Lena had to rebuild everything. Not just her life, but her understanding of it. Days later, in a quiet, unfamiliar apartment far from where it all began, Lena sat across from her brother. No secrets, no lies, just truth. "You're really here," she said softly. Daniel gave a small, tired smile. "I never stopped being your brother." Lena nodded, tears in her eyes, but they felt different now. Not grief, not confusion, closure. For the first time in 8 years, she wasn't mourning a memory. She was living with the truth. And finally, she was free.